All right, let's talk about Bo Nickal, and let's talk about what he said on the microphone last night. Very notable, something that made me extremely excited at the prospect of this idea. We're going to talk about that, and it has to do with Khamzat Chimaev. Oh, what? Did he really? Yes. Anyway, we'll get into that. It's not just that either. There's other things to talk about when it comes to Bo Nickal and Khamzat Chimaev. There's actually, there's a lot of meat on this bone if I wanted to just make it, like a full spectrum video about both these. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm going to do. So before I do that, though, I need to tell you guys about the sponsor of this video, which is Yo Kratom. I talk about them all the time, but I'm going to talk about them one more time. If you are a Kratom user and you don't order from Yo Kratom, that is insane. $60 kilograms. You have to be 21 years old, by the way. If you're 18, don't even look at that website. Because if you do and you don't have IP vanish, then I'll know and I'll find you and I'll take your computer and I'll turn you into the enforcement agency that would, the applicable one. Okay. So if you want to avoid those things, either get IP vanish or don't go on Yo Kratom. Okay. YoKratom.com, $60 kilograms. You'll love it. Okay. So here's the deal. So when I think about the UFC matchmakers and I go, all right, what are the fights I would make if I was them, right? I've always felt like there are kind of like these things that get left on the table, okay? I've always said, and I think they do a great job. I think they do an excellent job. But I've always thought that there's like this kind of like, I don't know, this like Goldilocks zone of fights that could be made that they don't do for a very specific reason that I feel like they're loosening up on now. Right? Like that's actually kind of where I'm going, is that like things that they wouldn't have done before that I feel like they're loosening up on. And I want to please ask them to continue to do that, because here's the deal. When Bo Nickal, who just ran through his opponent last night in 52 seconds, absolute sheer domination. Someone texted me, did you see the Bo Nickal fight? And I turned on Contender. It would just ended. And I saw Bo Nickal walking down the hallway and I just looked at him. I'm like, dude, he didn't look that happy right there. It was after everything. Like it was after the interview, everything. Like he was just walking down the hallway. I'm like, dude, did he lose? Like that was, I don't know. Like that's kind of, I only saw it just for a second because I obviously wanted to make sure I didn't find out what happened. And then I just kind of like, went like this, went back. Anyway, so I went into the fight, like really kind of like, oh shit, maybe he lost this fight. And I could tell by how much time was left that this was obviously a very, 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 very fast fight. So I watched it, and I'm sure that you guys have watched it, and I was like, like when I say I thought he lost, like I like legit thought he lost, And then it started, he does the dip as if he's going to go for a double, and then whap, just absolutely clean. I'm shocked that guy was awake after that shot. I mean, he hit him right on the chin and then took him down. He's like, all right, I'm going to guillotine you. No, never mind. That's not there. I'll just go inverted and give you a triangle. Like, here's a triangle for your trouble. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for being a part of my story. Wait, what's your dream? What's your dream? Oh, you wanted to make it to the UFC? Well, my dream is to be the number one pound for pound fighter in the world. So one of our dreams is still intact right now. And I don't like this joke, actually. I don't like this joke anymore. But congratulations, Bo Nickal. No disrespect to his opponent at all. So yeah, I mean, it was just shockingly dominant, Like I don't know how else to say it. Shockingly dominant. And then he comes into the, the first guy he beat on, first of all, like, so in his amateur career, he walked through both guys like instantly. In his first fight, he won in, I believe, 33 seconds. In his second fight, he won in 1 minute and 2 seconds. And in his third fight, he won in 52 seconds. So he's 3-0, 2 of which on the Contender Series, all 3 combined, like 2.5 minutes or something. So, or Jesus, less than that. Like, do you understand how insane that is? Like, do you actually, like, you understand how, like, these guys that make it to Contender, I know they're not UFC fighters yet, technically, but, like, do you understand how good you have to be? And when I say good, I'm talking, I think people hear professional fighter and they think UFC fighter, Like, I don't think regular folks understand how many professional fighters there are. And I'll tell you just as a quick aside, right, is when I used to have, like, it was after Amanda Nunes versus Juliana Pena, the most recent one. And somehow I got trapped into this conversation over and over about how there are definitely male professionals that are 135 pounds that Amanda Nunes would beat. Just plain and simple. There just are. Okay. And people they're like, dude, she's a girl, bro. She's a girl. And I'm like, right. And there are professionals that are 135 pounds that she not only would beat, she'd fuck their shit up. No, blah. You know, it's a ridiculous, like, anyone with any experience knows which side of this is the correct answer. Okay. But I think what they are thinking, people who don't actually go in, you know, like a lot who have never trained or like, you know, kind of mixed it up. They hear UFC, like they hear professional fighter, they think UFC fighter. You're like, no, dude. You understand? Like that's the whole point. The UFC is the absolute elite of an enormous number of people who are now professional fighters, meaning that they've taken money to compete in an event before. Okay. And so I only use that as the example, like, because to me, I'm thinking of person in small show who lost their fight and is, you know, like 12-22. Like that dude's not beating Amanda Nunes, bro. Like that, like the 12-22, 40 years old in the small show, lost his last 6. He's not beating Amanda Nunes. Like this, like he's fucking not beating her. They could fight 10 times. She'll beat him 10 times. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to get back into this conversation. Anyway, but the point I'm making is just that, like, just to get to Contender Series, these are good. These guys are right there, dude. They are like right there, talented enough, good enough to make the UFC, as a lot of them end up making the UFC. Sean O'Malley is a Contender Series guy, you know? So the point I'm making is, like, for him to walk through 3 guys that easily in under a minute, all 3 times, not, you know, once, not twice, 3 times with no fucking resistance, dude, is insane. Okay. Almost insane as a guy fighting on Fight Island, fighting again 10 days later at a different weight class, then fighting again 3 weeks after that and smashing all 3 guys. Kind of insane like that, you know? And so when Bo Nickal gets on the mic and he says, give me Khamzat Chimaev, he's 185 pounds. I'm like, okay, look, to have a guy's first fight in the UFC be Khamzat Chimaev sounds insane, right? Like that sounds insane. At first glance, it's like, come on, dude. This guy's one of the best prospects we've ever had. He's one of the top prospects we've ever had. Why would we throw him to the wolves like that? I'll tell you exactly why. For me, you know, for me. You know how fucking excited I would be about that fight? Because it's the unknown. It's the total fucking unknown, dude. It's the absolute pinnacle of fucking unknowns. Now, the only question is, like, will Johnny Q Public understand who Bo Nickal is, right? Like if you know, so I'm talking about for me. Now, I am not the regular public. I have a fucking YouTube channel. I talk about MMA all day long. I am certainly, if there is a dividing line between fucking casual fan and hardcore fan, pretty obvious which side of the fence I'm on, right? But I think that we could all do a good job of explaining to the casual fan this guy, Bo Nickal. Like, I think that we can get the word out. Because, again, like, it's the mystery of it. We don't know how fucking good he is yet. And from what we've seen, it's like, this guy looks like an unstoppable force. And he looks like an unstoppable force in the same category that the other unstoppable force is in. Right? And he's at 85. What, like, Khamzat Chimaev, just, like, look, Kevin Holland is a legit 85er. You know, he's now fighting at 70, but he was fighting at 85, was beating really solid guys. But the question mark around, like, was he, I mean, didn't he just, like, what, you know what I mean? Like, just the whole shit was fucking weird. But, dude, Khamzat is, I mean, you know, like, tested at 85, kind of, but give me that Bo Nickal and Khamzat fight, dog. Give it to me. Give it to me. I would be significantly more excited about that fight than any other fight that you could put in front of Khamzat Chimaev. I'm going to say that right now, and I'm not going to take it back. I am going to say that, and I am not going to take it back. Any other fight that you put in front of Khamzat Chimaev right now and versus, or he can fight Bo Nickal, I take Bo Nickal. And I'm not saying that because I'm like, Bo Nickal's going to be the greatest of all time. He's the number 1 pound for pound in the guy. No, it's the unknown. It's like, dude, look at this fucking guy. We have no idea what he's got, dude. We have no idea what Khamzat would do against a wrestler like that. You know? He's the American Khamzat Chimaev. Let's skip the part where he has to go through a bunch of strikers and see how they do against guys with great takedown defense. But fuck that. Skip it, dude. Skip all that shit. Don't put it in jeopardy. You know what I mean? Like, don't put this fucking fight in jeopardy. Give it to me, dude. Give it to me right now. This business is about the anticipation, the story, the hype. Like, to me, a Bo Nickal and Khamzat Chimaev fight for the hardcore fans, oh my God. Dude, give it to me. And I'm not saying Bo Nickal's going to beat Khamzat Chimaev. I have no idea. That's the whole point. You might be looking at, look, if the styles weren't what they are, I wouldn't be saying this. The whole point is the styles. If one of these guys gets KO'd, the hype is, not what it is right now. Pinnacle of hype. Throw them in there. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. Anyway, that's what I got.